Welcome back to another Saturday Anything Goes. I'm so glad to have you join me tonight. If this is your first time, my name is Linda. My Facebook business page is Cards by Winnie. No, my name's not Winnie, but my dog's name is Winnie. And since she's always in here when I'm crafting, I named it after her. Enough about that, though. It's been cooler in the mornings, and fall is in the air. Some of the leaves are changing colors. And while everybody else is thinking about Halloween, I skipped ahead and went right to Christmas. As you know, our holiday catalog came out last month, and there are so many fun things in it that I'm still ordering new stuff and getting used to playing with it. And one of the new things I got was this lovely DSP. This is called Wrapped in Plaid. And I was really glad that they brought back a plaid this year. Last year it was incredibly popular, and I only got in on the tail end of that. But this year I made sure that I hopped on the bandwagon and that I placed my order. And it's just such pretty paper, very classic, and it lends itself to making these really fast, easy cards. So I think we're going to have time to make 2 cards tonight. First one will be pretty fast. The second one, we're going to do a snow globe. But I don't think that's going to take us that much time either, because we're relying mainly on this paper to do a lot of the work for us. So there are 10 designs in the paper. And on one side, it's plaids that have gold stripes throughout. And if you turn it over, there's also some fun prints that you can work with. And we'll be using 2 of those tonight. So let me bring in my goodie bag here. And we'll be using Frosted Foliage and Peaceful Boughs for this first one. You're just not going to believe how easy this is going to be. So let me get up my ink. I have stuff scattered all over. There we go. Pull these to one side and bring out the pieces and parts. So as you can see, I'm going to be using the cherry cobbler on white with that beautiful gold stripe. And that's going to do most of the work for us. But I also wanted to play up on that gold. So I took some of our gold foil, and from the, no, not that one, the Frosted Foliage, they both have dies I just love. From the Frosted Foliage, we're going to be using, I've already cut out the gold with this leafy stamp. And then for our sentiment, we'll be using this die that fits perfectly in the center. So let's do that. First thing I'm going to do is glue down my paper to a cherry cobbler card base. This is my standard top folding. I just really like the top folding cards. And when you're all finished, it's going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. All right, so we'll just lay this down, and I've cut this piece of plaid paper to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. All right, so that's the easy part. We've got that, but we need to stamp our sentiment. And there are really great sentiments in both of these stamp sets. So for Peaceful Boughs, we have the one that says, "May the spirit of peace gently fill your heart and home in this most wonderful time of year." And then we also have from Frosted Foliage, "Sending you a little Yuletide cheer." And the font in that one is much bigger. And I think what I'm going to do is, you can always hold up your die and just make sure, but yep, that's going to fit either landscape or portrait style. Here it will fit portrait style, but not, well, you could get away with doing it landscape, but I like that one better, portrait style. And since our card is a portrait card, I think that's the one I'm going to use. So break this out and grab my block. And I think since our card base and our DSP both have cherry cobbler in them, that I'm just going to stick with the cherry cobbler. Makes sense to me. And I know I have my stamp on their cattywampus, but I do that on purpose. I watched a crafter once who said she had problems lining up her sentiments, and she would do them off kilter, and she said that helps you to pay attention to the sentiment and not your block. And it works for me. So I'll go ahead and stamp this down. Pardon my froggy voice. Boy, I tell you what, allergies are just kicking my fanny today. Okay, well, even with her suggestion, I still got a little crooked, but thankfully that doesn't really matter because I can put the die on it to where it's going to cut it out straight. So give me just a second here, clear off my die cutting machine, and we'll just go ahead and get this cut out. I'm going to use a little bit of washi tape just to hold this in place. Like that. Well, that's still not straight, Linda. Pardon me if my head gets in the way. Let's try that one. And the camera will probably shake a little bit because my big shot is directly on my working table. But I'll try and not shake it too much. All right. So there's our lovely sentiment. This is going to fit perfectly within that die cut. So let's go ahead and glue that down. If you're out there watching, please type in a hello to me so I'll be able to see you. I love talking to you all while I'm crafting. And we'll get that down. And I used my liquid glue so I could kind of squinch it around if I needed to, but I think that looks good. All that's left is to go ahead and attach this to our card. And for that, I think I'm going to use dimensionals. Put a little dimension in this card. We should probably only need 4 or 5. I'm not going to worry about the leafy cuts there. I think they'll be just fine because there aren't any real delicate ones that would bend easily. All right, one more. And let's pull the backing off. Hello, Betty. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you for joining tonight. Okay. And let me get my reverse tweezers out because my fat fingers get in the way. So make sure I have it opening right. Yep, I do. Again, pardon my head if it gets in the way, but I just want to try and make sure that my borders have equal space all the way around with the card base and the DSP. And that is how quick and easy that was. But you know what? We need a little bit of sparkle. I like the card, but you gotta put some embellishments on. So I've got either these holiday rhinestones, or I could just stick with gold and use some of our metallic pearls. I think this is going to call for some definite big sparkle. So I'm going with the holiday rhinestones. We've got red ones, we've got gold ones. So let's just grab 2 or 3 of them. I don't think I want to use gold. This has got plenty of gold around, so let's just grab the red. So we'll put one up here and one down here, and then one more for good measure, and we'll put it up here. All you would have to do after that is to put a piece of Whisper White on the inside with your sentiment, but I think I'm going to wait on that. I usually like to wait on doing my insides until I know who I'm sending it to. That way I can really personalize it to them. But that fast and easy, we have gotten our first card out of the way. And I just love it when you can do a quick one like that. Hi, Stephanie. Hello, Kathy. All right, so our first card took, what do you think, 5 minutes? This would be a good one that you could kind of do assembly line as long as you cut your gold die cut ahead of time. So we'll put that one away for now. Hello, Miss Weenie. If you hear her, a little paws clicking on the floor, she came in to say hello. Well, what say we put these up and let's get started with our snow globe one. This is going to be fun. We're again going to use some of the plaid paper. We're going to do a little bit of heat embossing. And I think we're going to put some of our new glitter, chunky glitter. Look at how pretty that is. So let me bring in my goodie bag again. And we can put away the red. We won't need that. So for this, we're going to be using our Still Scenes stamp set. And it comes with those wonderful snow globe domes. And I don't know if we'll use any ribbon or not, but we'll figure it out as we go along. And I pulled out our shaded spruce because the DSP happens to have shaded spruce in it. So let's just empty out the pieces and parts for this one. And I cut out Mama Polar Bear and Baby Polar Bear out of our beautiful glimmer paper. So if you haven't gotten that yet, I highly recommend it. It gives a ton of sparkle. All right, so we're starting out with a card base. This one is actually side folding. So I cut it at 8.5 by 5.5 and scored it at 4 1/4. This one was a little tricky for me to figure out because, you know, who looks at instructions, right? Well, after my first one, I decided I needed to watch a few videos on how to do this. But we're going to be using that lovely plaid paper. This has a combination of the green, red, and gold. But I wanted for the snow globe part that you're going to see to have kind of a wintry sky. And what's the easiest way to do it? Well, we have some of our Feels Like Frost DSP that's perfect for that. So it's got that beautiful navy color in it. So that is actually going to be the night sky for this. And so the first thing we're going to do is glue this down. And I am using liquid glue because there is foiling on the back of this. So you want to use a good strong adhesive. And I cut this to where there's just a narrow, like a 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. The same thing with the plaid paper, that is cut the same. But how are we going to put this together? Well, this is how we're going to do it. So I've already cut out from here, used the die in the stamp set to cut out the window. And what we'll do is we'll have this peek through it like that. And you have adhesive on the back as well as adhesive on the front. And I didn't realize that with the first one that I made. So, you know, I made my card, didn't cut out like you're supposed to, and had this showing on the outside. It was not pretty. So lesson learned. You want to make sure that you line it up while you're sticking it down. You want it to be as straight as you can get it. And yes, it will fit around there very nicely. So just like that, we have our dome on the inside. So all that's left to do now is to marry these two together. But we want to have a little scene, and we want to have our glitter in there. And I'm going to go ahead and take care of that now, because everything else we do will be on the outside of the card. Hi, Sandy. Thanks for joining us tonight. So the easiest way to do this is I'm going to glue the polar bears down. And here's how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to I've got my thumb down here holding it in place. And I'll position my polar bears. Oh, where did baby polar bear go? There he is. Position my polar bears where I want them. Can you see that little bit of magnification? I really like that about the domes. So if I do it there, nope, I need to move them over just a tad. And then our glitter, when we put it in there, will serve as the snow that they're standing on. All right, so I like that. I think that's in good position. Let's glue these down. So I'll glue the baby down first, since I can use mama for a reference point. And again, I'm just using my liquid glue, not too much. You absolutely do not want any, and I'm going to rub some. You don't want any of the adhesive to stick to the paper, or your glitter will stick as well. So let me just put this down right there. And then I'm just going to real quick check to make sure that's where I want it. And it is. So now let's do mama. And I tell you, this really is the hardest part of this, is just lining this up. And that's not all that hard. Okay, so we'll put mama right. I'm going to put her up just a little bit. Right there. Make sure that's all pressed down. Okay. Hold this up. And that's going to work well. Couple of things we want to do. Because your glitter can sometimes be a little staticky, I'm going to take my embossing buddy and just rub the very inside lightly. You don't want to get a lot of powder in there. And then I'm blowing out any excess. But that way, when I put my glitter down, it should move freely throughout my snow globe scene. So here's my glitter. And I will tell you, I think I've made this or a snow globe card 2 times now, and both times I put way too much glitter in. So we're gonna put just a little in. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna scoop it above the bears. That way I know when I glue this down that it can fall to the bottom. Make sure I've got that. So, and I think I'll use not even a full spoon, just like that. Maybe a tiny bit more. And if you wanted to, we also have these really pretty snowflake sequins. You could put a few in there. And I think I might just put a couple. Not too many. Just the ones that are jumping out at me. There. Oops. Gotta get them all back in there. Don't want to drop those or you'll be playing 52 pickup for a while. All right. I'm going to try and corral my glitter here and my snowflakes into the center so that when I glue this down, it has a good fit. So we're going to peel off the adhesive on the back of the snow globe, but we're also going to need, obviously, glue on the other parts or some type of adhesive. You could use tear and tape for this, but I'm going to stick with my glue. And I want to be very careful that I'm not getting it onto that adhesive. So here comes the really hard part. And I'm going to need to stand up for this one. So what we want to do is, what I'm trying to do is line it up with the frosted foliage, or feels like frost paper. Because I know as long as I do that, because I cut them exactly the same, that this should work just fine. And there we go. Yay! All right, let's see. Do we shake? Oh, look, I didn't put too much glitter in. You can still see baby bear. Phew! And that really is the hardest part, is making sure that you get everything lined up correctly. And I have a couple of little things here, but I can come in and camouflage those with maybe a couple little strips of gold. Probably should have cut my foliage paper, feels like frost paper, a little bit narrower. All right, so that was good, but hey, it's just floating in the air. So we need to create a base for it. Here's where our embossing comes in. So I pulled the base from the stamp set. You can either do that, or there is a die you can use that's very intricate. So if we wanted to just cut that out of gold, we could put it right there. But I decided I wanted to stamp with this one. And I want to stamp it on Night of Navy paper. You'll understand in a minute. I just didn't want there to be a lot of white detracting from what's inside our snow globe. So let me use my embossing buddy to make sure there's nothing on there that will keep it from adhering. Bring in the Versamark. The other nice thing about doing it this way is when I do the die cut, it's easier to line it up underneath the globe. All right. So we'll just set that on there. Looks like I got a good imprint. And now I'll bring in my gold embossing powder. And we'll just pour it over. Getting a little low on this, I think. Maybe a little bit more right there. Okay, you can't see it. Well, I guess you can, but you'll see it a lot better here when I heat it up. So I've got my little board here that I'll clip it to. And I do this for two reasons. Number one, the heat gun gets really hot, so you don't want to burn your fingers, but also it helps some with the warping. So I've got my heat tool here. It's going to get a little noisy. I'm going to heat it up off of the paper. Okay, I think I've got it nice and hot. So I'll pick this up, and here we go. And we'll just wait for the magic to happen. There we go. A bit more. There's a lot of the embossing powder on here since it's such an intricate stamp. So you want to make sure you get it all. I'm even going to tilt it. But yep, I got it all. Okay. Whew. Ooh, that's even hot. Hello. All righty. With that done, I'll bring in my die and we'll cut it out. don't know why it is. I always set everything right on top of the plates for my big shot. All right, so let's put this here. And again, I'll probably use some washi tape to hold it down because we do want to make sure that we get it straight. Come on, get down there, you. All righty. Pardon the camera if it wobbles. Okay. And there we have it. Look at how beautiful that looks. Just so intricate. All right, so now we can bring this in, and the curvature of it, make sure that it sits perfectly right underneath your snow globe. So we'll attach that. Do I want to prop that up? I think I want to prop that up. Okay, where'd my dimensionals go? I just had them a second ago. Oh, there they are. Yes, tonight is dimensional night. But if you can give your card that extra lift, it really makes it even prettier. Come on, you. Winnie, I'll try not to drop any of these backings on you. All right, and then I'm just going to set it down right like that. And look at that. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I just love it when you can get a look like that without much work. All right, now do we want to put a sentiment on the front of this one? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? My goodness, lots of you guys on. Oh, Stephanie, I love the bears too. Kathy from Colorado. I used to live in Aurora. I loved it there, but the job brought me here, and now I love it here. All right, I natter her on. So there's a great greeting that goes well with this, season's greetings. Let's see if I've left enough room. Oh, look at that. I have just enough room to put that on there. So, do we want to heat emboss that as well? I could heat emboss it directly on the card, which might look kind of cool. Or I have, where's my other one here? In Peaceful Boughs, I have this die that will cut it out just barely, but it does fit within it. So let's see if I have room to put this. I do have room to put this. Let's try that. So where'd my goodie bag go? I need a piece of white. I think we're going to not heat emboss it. I think we're going to stamp it on white and see what it looks like, because we can always come back and heat emboss it. But all my white has disappeared. Luckily, I have a piece right here. So, and let's do it in shaded spruce and see if we like that. If not, we can try heat embossing in gold again. Since I'm going to cut this out, I don't have to be quite so careful. So we've got that. Let's see what I mean about, it just barely fits. And I'm not sure I'm going to like that white, but we'll give it a whirl. Okay, where'd my washi tape? We'll give it the old college try. it could be good. So line that up, trying to make sure that I get the beginning and the end. And we'll run this through. There we go. Let's see how it looks. Whoopsie, come on. See, it just barely fits, but it does fit. So we could put this down here and could even ink up the edges. Just dipping the edges into the ink pad like that. It's not a Saturday anything goes if I don't get inky. And then we can slip that on there right like that. What do you guys think? Should we do it? Is the white okay, seeing as how we really don't have anything else that's that color of white? Or should we try doing some heat embossing on it? No sentiment, you know, I'm kind of leaning that way. We can always put our sentiment on the inside. And yeah, I think I like that. I like your thinking, Kathy. Do we want to put any embellishments? Well, heck yeah. Since we're not putting a sentiment on, let's bring out the goodie bag. Now, again, I could use some of the Holiday Rhinestone Basic Jewels. We also have our pearls. And with that, the gold on the snow globe base, that might look really pretty. Is there anything else in here? I don't think there's anything else I'd want to use. So let's just see. Hold up the gold, because it's a different color. It's not really a gold, it's more a honey color. So if I put that on there, I'm just not sure. The green might look nice. Nope, that blends in too much. And I know the blue's not going to work because that'll blend in even more. They are pretty though. Why don't we? How many places do I have where I could put them if I use corners? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 places I could use them. So I could even use the reds. Nope, we're going to stick with, wait, one more thing, let me see. We're going to stick with the amber colored ones. And what I'm going to do is stick them wherever the gold crosses. So these little areas here are good. We've got one there. Definitely one there. And we can even sneak one in up here. Got to kind of turn it around to do it, but it'll go. And then we've got one over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need one more for an odd number. I'm going to put it right down here. All right. What do you guys think? Yes? And I can use the season's greetings on another card. So really quick and easy to make a cute snow globe. I can never stop playing with these. And I finally got the ratio of that chunky glitter down right to where it's not burying everything in it. And later on, again, I will put a sentiment on the inside once I figure out who it's going to. All right, so those are our 2 cards tonight. Okay, where'd the other one go? There we go. Quick and easy. I mean, It's only taken us less than 30 minutes to do both of them. Now, while we're going over this, let me show you what not to do if I can find it. Look at how beautiful this card is. Is that not a beautiful card? I use Peaceful Boughs die cuts in gold. Some more of that plaid paper, but this time in the red and green. I even use some of our cherry cobbler striped ribbon and that beautiful sentiment that I love. And isn't that just a gorgeous card? Well, it is until you open it up. It's upside down. No worries, I'll just chop it off and put it on another card base. But just goes to show you that before you put your sentiment on, make sure it's the right way up. So that was Linda's boo-boo for the night. Or we might have been able to do 3 cards. All right, any questions about either one of the cards? Hello, Amy. Thanks for joining. Thank you, Karen. Thanks, Sandy. Thank you, Betty. All right, before I let you go, you know, I've been on a 3D kick, right? Look at how cute this little thing is. Perfect stocking stuffer. And if I slide it out, it is a Bath and Body Works hand sanitizer. It's the travel one, and I just absolutely love it. I saw Paper Pixie did one on YouTube, and I thought, oh man, I'm always at Bath and Body Works, and there are a lot of these that I like. So heck yeah, I went ahead. I've already made a dozen of them. Can't stop. But they'll be really good to give out to servers or the UPS person, the postal person. I'm sure that they would appreciate being able to have some hand sanitizer there. So who knows what's the next thing I'm going to get into. And certainly if there is anything that you would all like to see me demonstrate in any of our Saturday Anything Goes, just drop me a comment below. And I love it when you give me suggestions. Okay, well, I'll wrap it up for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed watching me make these 2 cards, and that you'll go out there and make some as well. Have a good night and have a blessed tomorrow. Night, y'all.